Good afternoon. My name's Bob Carpenter, President and CEO of GS1 US, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you to Washington, D.C. for GS1 Connect 2016. It's a terrific time to be in our nation's capital. There's always a lot of energy in Washington, D.C., as we all know, and particularly right now, given our unusual U.S. political environment. And I won't delve into that any further with this crowd. But honestly, much of the energy in D.C. and elsewhere is being driven by change, as we know. And change is certain for all of us, particularly in the business world. Even though change can bring disruption, it also provides an opportunity to re-examine our businesses so that we can grow. In fact, that's really why we're here this week. And our theme, Unlock the Power of Standards, will showcase GS1 standards as the key to structure and improve the quality of your data so that you can execute existing and new business processes more effectively, just like the video in Standardsville. And none of this would be possible without our sponsors, so we want to thank them for all their support. And please, when you see them, make sure you thank them too, whether in a session or in the exhibit hall or at a networking event. So thank you. So business environments have certainly changed over the years. And interesting, from the 1900s to the 1960s, people referred to that as the age of manufacturing. And then from the 60s to the 90s, people talked about it as the age of distribution. The 90s to 2000s, through that period, was the age of information. And now and for the next several decades, businesses will continue to adapt to the age of the consumer, a new business cycle where the power has shifted to consumers. Now, interestingly, the world takes standards for granted, but standards have fostered business growth for decades. So think about it. How would we have advanced manufacturing and distribution without the standardization of the width of railroad ties? Industry around the world agreed on a common standard. Today, there are about 3,249 ties per mile based on a 19.5-inch on-center spacing, standardization. And that represents almost 800 million cross ties and across 200,000 miles of track in the US. Or take the age of information, made possible by the convergence, standardization, and interoperability of broadband, media, and information technology that added nearly $900 billion to the US economy annually. And today, mobile devices are powering the age of the consumer. With the help of security standards, we now share sensitive data online and over our phones to conduct millions, billions actually, of transactions annually. And throughout history, standards have been essential for industry to compete and innovate, especially now as consumers are demanding to know more about the food they eat, the products they purchased, where those products come from, and what ingredients are used. To satisfy this desire for complete and accurate product information, trading partners are focusing on strategies to enable complete visibility. Let me share with you some recent research about the age of the consumer. Today, 88% of consumers are now demanding accurate, rich, and complete content before they hit the buy button. And interestingly, price now ranks third, behind detailed product descriptions, ratings, and reviews. And millennials are 72% more likely to make a purchase based on photos of others who have used the product. And it's not just about online purchases. The entire way healthcare is delivered is really being transformed. Healthcare is beginning to move away from hospitals. Home monitoring and remote diagnostic technologies are now providing medical professionals with virtual monitoring of a patient's condition, particularly for chronic illnesses. Individuals are taking greater personal responsibility for their health. Entire healthcare ecosystems are taking shape for holistic approaches that engage patients across a range of medical, nutritional, physical fitness, and community-oriented contexts. And think about traditional hospitals, producers of wearables like Fitbit, or retail pharmacies like Walgreens, who are all launching platforms based on the health data they own. These all represent a megatrend around consumer personalization. And we know that almost 80% of consumers are more likely to be a repeat customer if a retailer provides them with a targeted, personalized offer. And they're willing to pay for it as well. Almost 90% of consumers will pay up to 25% more for a better customer experience, a personalized experience. We believe the age of the consumer is really enabled by one thing, and that's data. But this data has to be smart data, complete, accurate, shareable, and linkable. Data and analytics capabilities are transforming the way we work and live. Unlocking the true power of data at scale, we believe, will be the differentiator for organizations vying for consumers, because data is the foundation for any consumer interaction. At GS1 US, we hear about this with every discussion we have with you all, our customers. Businesses are grappling with how to become genuinely data-driven and consumer-centric. And your consumers' habits, beliefs, and personal technologies are evolving at a faster pace than ever before, oftentimes faster than industry. We must not only keep pace, but we have to anticipate. But to be clear, we don't just need data, it has to be smart data. Data that is not only accurate and complete, but structured so that it can flow through all of your information ecosystems. Smart data is critical to managing your information, transaction, and inventory business processes while also keeping current with existing regulations. Unique identification forms the cornerstone of smart data by making it possible to link the right product information with the right product. So think of unique identification as the passport to commerce. And no one understands this more than the major online marketplaces like eBay or Google or Amazon, who have been collaborating with GS1 US for years. They need to provide smart data for the items they sell, and all of them now see the value in branded items having a unique global trade item number, or G10. In fact, Google claimed recently a 20% improvement in conversion when items in Google Shopping contained a reliable G10. So for this reason, we have been working with industry to strengthen the rules surrounding when we need to change the G10, to make sure we always return the right information for the right product. These new G10 management rules are likely to become standards later this month and critical to ensure consumers find your product online. So we recommend you attend sessions this week to understand how these new standards will ensure your product is identified uniquely across commerce. And let's be honest, what is a choice today may become a regulatory mandate tomorrow. Take a look at what's happening in Europe with EU 1169, or in the US with healthcare and device and pharmaceutical products, where data accuracy is now regulated. Working together, proactively with industry, regulators, and GS1 US, we are in a much better position to direct, prepare, and capitalize on any changes that lie ahead versus the alternative, which is react, respond, and scramble. And that's why we've been working on a number of approaches to data quality. Recent efforts include partnering with the Grocery Manufacturers Association on Smart Label, a tool that gives consumers access to more detailed product information about a wide range of consumer products. Smart Label enables consumers to get all the information they want to know digitally via mobile devices. Another example is the Global Data Synchronization Network, or GDSN, Major Release 3. Just introduced, Major Release 3 includes more than 1,500 changes to GDSN designed to improve real-time electronic product information sharing across many industries. This is the biggest release in over 10 years for GDSN, a network that now serves over 230 countries and territories and processes about 25,000 transactions per day. Improving data quality is really, as we know, a journey. It's not a race. But the pace of that journey is really accelerating. With the rapid growth of mobile, the exponential consumer demand for data, and data-driven processes in every single one of your companies. We know that trusted data unlocks real cost savings and operational returns for businesses. And we also know that today, consumers view products with incomplete data as defective, destroying any brand loyalty in place. The data quality journey requires good data governance processes combined with knowledge and training of associates so the integrity of product data is maintained through all steps of the supply chain. And with our GS1 US data quality program, company audits revealed that data accuracy continues to be an issue linked to basic product attributes, such as brand name, weights, or dimensions. We're here to help. GS1 US offers training, education, and advisory services, and importantly, there are many solution providers that can also assist your organizations. Companies working with us have achieved a 20% improvement in both item and case level data quality. So in the age of the consumer, data is now a strategic asset for growth and no longer a cost of doing business. Those companies who will be the most successful are those who will have enterprise-wide data quality initiatives in place. The power of engagement through collaboration is another reason attendees like all of you come to Connect each year, and why many of you work with your peers in GS1 industry engagement initiatives or serve on an executive leadership committee. And for that participation and engagement, we sincerely thank you. We believe that GS1 Connect is a platform to enable collaboration and engagement. It's the personal engagement across industries available this week in Washington, D.C. that helps promote discovery, heighten creativity, and productivity in the workplace. Regardless of industry, companies across all sectors share similar core challenges. These challenges, ensuring safety, transparency and visibility, and efficiency, are not competitive, but instead represent major opportunities for collaboration. How individual companies use that smart data to deliver outstanding products and services is what drives competition. And this is what we mean when we talk about collaborate to compete. Industry leaders in GS1 US work together to agree upon best practices and standards. These then become the foundation for more efficient competition in the marketplace. At GS1 US, we're privileged to interact with companies at all points of the continuum in terms of size, location, industry, and frankly, sophistication. As a result, we have excellent examples of collaboration going on right now that speak to the remarkable progress that can be achieved when trading partners, regulators, and GS1 US work together. So let me give you some examples. First, let's start with radio frequency identification, RFID, where the numbers are really soaring. Today, more than 40% of apparel brand owners are source tagging products using GS1 standards and RFID. And importantly, RFID is the key transformational technology to meet the inventory demands of omnichannel retail. Shifting to omnichannel, think about the explosion of attributes and images required to enable omnichannel. And consumers' demand for a seamless omnichannel experience continues to increase across every industry. Every shopper now expects consistent product content regardless of whether on their mobile, in-store, or online. And to enable omnichannel, a focus on attributes and structured data is essential across all points of purchase. And that's why our industry work groups have all identified roadmaps for GS1 standardized product attributes and images, working to harmonize those requirements across all industry. Let's shift and talk about anti-counterfeit. Consumers today can now buy a product through a host of different channels. So it's more important than ever for brands to protect authenticity. GS1 standards can help reduce the proliferation of counterfeit goods by tracking products from source to store, making it much easier to authenticate products and ensure satisfied consumers. Traceability. The food service and retail grocery industries are focusing on consumers' need to know more about the food they eat and the products they purchase. Workgroup efforts are underway to increase case-level traceability across many industries, leading to higher levels of product safety. Some examples. Today, traceability is 72% for all fresh meat and poultry in the United States, with deli close behind at 59%. And in produce, almost 40% of cases are now tracked using a GS1 128 barcode and growing fast. Supply chain visibility. Here we have lots of examples, but most recently, the pharmaceutical industry has been collaborating on using GS1's electronic product code Information Service, or EPCIS, as a global standard to help meet requirements of the FDA's drug safety legislation, known as the Drug Supply Chain Security Act, or DSCSA. EPCIS enables supply chain visibility and provides the data attributes and message structure needed for companies to comply with the FDA's DSCSA law. Let's talk about compliance, particularly in the medical device space. GS1 US work groups are collaborating with many members of the medical device industry to prepare for all phases of the FDA's Unique Device Identification, or UDI, regulation, using GS1 standards. And for the upcoming third UDI deadline, scheduled for September 24th of this year, all Class 3 and Class 2 devices are expected to be compliant with the UDI rule and loaded into the FDA's Global Unique Device Identification database. So, inventory accuracy, omnichannel, anti-counterfeit, traceability, visibility, compliance to regulations. Any of these topics sound familiar to your industries or companies? If you're not involved, we need you to get engaged. Because at GS1 US, we have a unique role that transcends any specific industry or organization. And we bring all stakeholders together to collaborate on critical issues, just like the ones we just talked about a moment ago. And that collaboration creates economies of scale to drive down cost and improve the quality of trading partner interactions for all of us. Now, advancements in technology are changing our world pretty quickly. And for 2016, that means sourcing and implementing some new technology of our own. So let me quickly give you some examples. First of all, GS1 US Mobile Scan. In January, we were thrilled to announce a strategic partnership and collaboration with Digimark to introduce the next revolution in product identification and consumer experience. With digital watermarking, retailers, brand owners, and consumers have unprecedented access to dynamic content that improves operational efficiency and consumer engagement. GS1 US Data Hub. We've developed a newly configured, integrated suite of online tools to help you implement GS1 standards much, much easier. Now data about your products, companies, and locations come together in a single platform, GS1 US Data Hub, helping you identify, create, manage, use, and verify your data. And lastly, in your registration bag, you received a newly released book called Platform Revolution. Now, the authors define the purpose of a platform as accelerating interactions between producers and consumers in a two-sided market. And many of you may be thinking, geez, Bob, what do you mean by producers and consumers, or what are two-sided markets? So let me give you some examples. First of all, Airbnb, world's largest accommodation provider, owns no hotel rooms based on a platform of hosts and guests, two-sided market. Or Uber, world's largest transportation business, owns no cabs based on a platform of riders and drivers. So you get the point. These and other platforms are driving some of the most dramatic disruption industry has ever seen. And we believe GS1 US also serves as a platform. Beginning back in 1973 with the implicit agreement between brand owners first supplying a barcode and retailers reading the barcode at point of sale, providing dramatic cost reductions over the last 4 decades, with manufacturers and retailers serving as that two-sided market. Standards as a platform. And today is no different. The more we can adopt standards to organize data one way across both B2B and B2C business processes, the better our costs, revenue, and regulatory performance will be as an industry. And that is something upon which we all can agree. This is the network effect that accrues to each of us when more stakeholders from all areas of commerce work together and adopt standards to organize data. But just like railroad ties centuries before us, it only works when more of you collaborate, participate, and use our standards. So we encourage you to read the book. It's an excellent book, trust me, and leverage GS1 Connect to strengthen standards as a platform for your industry. As a neutral party, we have a unique vantage point to connect participants in those two-sided markets. whether it's regulators and industries, hospitals and manufacturers, restaurants and distributors, or retailers and brand owners. And exposure to new ideas and new perspectives and innovative services like these help us all set the stage for change and introduce us to new opportunities for growth. GS1 Connect 2016 gives you many opportunities to learn, interact, engage, and network with your peers. And with the power of standards, we encourage you to take full advantage of the idea flow across all of the industries represented in the room today. And most importantly, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us here in Washington, D.C.